What is going on? Happy Thursday, Woodward Bets back in the house. As you can see, same motley crew from yesterday. Scott still out. I am still battling an illness as well, but one of us had to man up and be on the show today. So, Scott, all joking aside, hope you're feeling better, my man. We got Beastie back in the house, and good thing because we got a lot of NHL on the docket today. That's pretty much the primary sport here on a Thursday. Some NBA on the docket as well. We'll cover that, catch you up with all the news and notes in the NFL, and then end the show, as always, with our best bets. Make sure you are following us on Twitter at Woodward Bets. I want to continue to grow that. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Subscribe, do all the stuff that we are always asking for. Make sure you're following the network as well at Woodward Sports. But Beastie's chomping at the bit here, so let me get him in here. Coming off a solid night of best bets in the NHL, at least. You know, I'm never going to hide from mine. Were an absolute train wreck yesterday, and I'm going to blame the illness. So we'll do that. Maybe I was a little foggy there. The stinky guy definitely making an appearance here today. But the NBA bets were a disaster last night. So we'll hope to rebound today. We're never going to hide from it. These kind of days happen. I started looking at the scores last night. I was like, hey, this one crushed. This one crushed. I mean, it's one of those days, and it happens in life as well, Beastie, as you know. When it rains, it pours. So, we wiped that slate clean. We got a couple NHL winners, so we go back to the board here tonight. But let me get you in here, my man. How are we doing today on this fine Thursday evening?
I'm great, thank you. And yesterday's best bets, right? I went 2 for 3, and it's always the slam dunk. No way
Right.
Toronto wasn't going to beat, the best team in the league. There was no way they were going to lose to Arizona, arguably the worst team in the league, and that's exactly what happened. Only 3 total goals. Arizona won 2-1 here. So Toronto didn't cover. The under came in. So of the 3 games, I thought Toronto and Arizona was a slam dunk. But again, hey, if you bet a lot or if you play DFS, we've seen, if you do it enough, I should say, you're going to start to see the same thing over time. When it comes to betting or DFS, nothing is a slam dunk. And, as you said, today, January 13th, we have 11 games, NHL games on the schedule. And once my pen gets flowing on the paper and I'm looking and I'm reading, I literally, I'm not trying to say this as a joke, but I get on some sort of, off the handle here where I don't know what happens. And I covered the 3 games for tomorrow already before I knew it. All 11 today, and I've already covered Friday and some into Saturday. So when it's something you enjoy, like a hobby, like hockey or sports betting or DFS, it never really feels like work. So I'm pretty much covered for hockey, all the way through the weekend. Today I did it all. So it just happens that way.
Love it. I'm more the procrastinator. I tend to do stuff at the last minute, and not just because I like to push it off. And I've always thought about this, but it's more so that I need that pressure of, okay, shit, I got to get this done. I got an hour, I got a day, I got a week, whatever it may be. So we'll balance each other out here. But hockey knowledge for sure. The Red Wings are really the only local team in action. So I know Beastie has dug a little bit deeper there. Maybe there's some things in that game that he can give you guys to enjoy betting on that Red Wings game for sure. But let's cover a couple local topics here. First off, in the NFL, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the NFC Rookie of the Week, and no surprise coming off his big performance against my Packers. And I know that you and Scott have talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you're the Lions fan here of the two of us. I am a Green Bay fan, but let's talk about this kid for a minute. And he certainly has turned himself into a question mark earlier in the year. Didn't know exactly what you had. You saw some flashes, but you got to be feeling pretty damn good about this guy as not only a wide receiver you can count on, but a potential building block here. And that's what you need. Think about building a house. You need a foundation. You can't just have, some decent parts here or there and, let's throw this thing together. You got to start with the foundation. And the Lions, I think, have hit a gem with Amon-Ra St. Brown here in this last draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at a wide receiver in the NFL, and again, I've what I'm about to say, I've fallen victim to it too. Everybody looks at a wide receiver, and whoever the first one you think of, more than likely they're going to be 6'3", 6'4", 220. The prototypical wide receiver would be built like Calvin Johnson, which I know we'll talk about right after this segment. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But even like a DK Metcalf, like these absolute freaks of nature, they have no body fat and they're just lifting weights and they just pancaking, opposing cornerbacks and safeties here. So I would like to think, absolutely, in an odd way, that some folks they just discounted Amon-Ra St. Brown after the draft, all through the spring and summer OTAs, like the first handful of games here, because he's just that. He's number 14. He plays in the slot. He's a smaller guy. Yeah, he's quick, and his draft profile was like, yeah, he's elusive, he's slippery, all those coach speak kind of words here that we throw out. But this kid came on strong the last half of the season here, and especially the last 4 or 5 games here. And again, it's like, if you're not in Detroit, right? I know you're from Wisconsin, you're a big Green Bay guy, huge Green Bay guy, but you're also, I would imagine, you're a fan of the NFC North, and you pay a little closer attention to the North and the Packers than other divisions here. And I know a lot of people across the board all season, Amon-Ra, he was lying in wait. They kind of kept him in their back pocket just in case, he came out of it and snapped out some wild streak here and went nuts. And look, boom, it happened here. And I love everything about this kid. And it starts way back when the draft procedure of Dan Campbell, of Brad Holmes, they put it off. I believe Spencer behind the glass, he cut this clip from when Scott and I were talking last week here. In a way, this is professional football, but they treated it, I know this is going to sound strange, Bear, but they treated it like a fantasy football draft. They put it off, let's get Penny, back-to-back defensive linemen. And then when they were up again, no, we're going to put Amon-Ra off again. And they took that chance. They took that risk that, hey, they were up, they passed, he might not be back around when they select again. And lo and behold, they grabbed him. We fast forward to right now. I believe he's had, maybe 3 Pepsi Rookie of the Week so far, the latest one being today, earlier this afternoon here. But to me, this kid is a foundation, and it goes into this weird pot that I've been talking about here, where he's not your prototypical wide receiver one. He's not 6'3". He's not like built like a brick S house here, but this kid can get it done. And we've seen him put the work in. I mean, we know everybody likes to talk about that. Is he working on the jugs machine? Is he staying after at practice? Is he the first one to arrive and the last one out of the building? And this kid checks all those boxes. And it just so happens he's one heck of a human being as well. He's a kind dude. He always takes time out of his day. If you approach him and say, hi, can I get a photo? Can I get an autograph? And again, if we look at the Green Bay game, which I'm sure you watched, both of his parents were there. They had on that half, Green Bay jersey, that half Lions jersey, because they got both sons for both teams. But to me, Amon-Ra was absolutely a hidden gem, one of the very best of this early regime of Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell here. So I think he is something we can build on. And again, as we go into this coming off season with the draft, yeah, it would be best of the Lions to grab another wide receiver, but not to suppress this kid's talent, to work side by side with this kid, and we grow and we build. And again, any franchise that turns this thing around, you need to pluck little gems out of the draft like this. You hit a home run on your first 2 round picks, and then fourth, 5th round plus, that's when you got to do your work. And if you can hit on some of these kids at a more substantial clip, you're going to rebuild pretty quick. So to me, I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. Glad he's here.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a check in the corner of Brad Holmes for sure. I mean, hitting guys like this, like you said. So we hear the comparisons here as well. I've heard some Golden Tate. I've heard some other names. The guy that he kind of reminds me of a little bit, and it's a guy playing right now, he's got a little bit of Deebo Samuel to him. A little Swiss Army knife. We've seen them utilize him out of the backfield. We've seen them have him throw some passes. So who's your closest comp? It could be a recent guy. It could be Golden Tate. It could be somebody from the old school. I mean, we always love to compare these guys. Like you said, he's not Calvin Johnson. And yes, we're going to talk some Megatron, of course, coming up here next. But who is your comp here for Amon-Ra St. Brown?
No, I'm with you 100%. I love the Debo Samuel kind of comparison here. And I think what makes that a little bit sweeter is when you look at San Francisco, I mean, they have, an abundance of running backs, but not one of them, Eli Mitchell, Hasty, not one of them is actually a true RB1. And it's the system that Shanahan runs that kind of, keeps this thing moving here. But when you look at Detroit, we don't need Amon-Ra to take carries out of the backfield. Sure, you can run wheel routes or swing passes, things like that. But we have a young up and coming superstar stud in DeAndre Swift, which I think only helps Amon-Ra's, his cause here if he wants to line up in the backfield next to Swift or next to Jamal Williams. It's just another tool in this Lions toolbox here. So yeah, I love the comp between Amon-Ra and Debo Samuel. But in terms of the Golden Tate thing, I've always loved Golden Tate. He's still kind of hanging around. I don't know if he officially retired, but to me, Amon-Ra is a young kid. And what I like most about him is he's not like all in your face, dancing in front of the camera. He grabs the ball, moves the chains, keeps his head down and lines back up, and he keeps it moving. Golden Tate was basically the same way, but he had more, more fire in him. And you could call it fire. You could call it, being rude or just, being too much on the field here. But as it stands right now, I love the comparison between Debo and Amon-Ra. And hey, maybe Amon-Ra can kind of gel his game into Debo and a little bit of Golden Tate, but the rest of it will be Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, so for sure, I think the future is bright there, and the Lions doing it right. You mentioned Swift. We know the offensive line is a strength. Obviously, Goff, a question mark, but maybe you get through another year of Goff. You continue to improve. Boom, 2023 draft. You're probably still in a good position to land a franchise starting level quarterback. So doing it the right way, no doubt. So let's stay with the Lions here. I know you're itching to talk some Calvin Johnson. So back in the building, that's a good sign. There's differing reports. Did they make up? Did they not? The latest from Dave Burkett, who we know is one of the best, was on with the boys on the bottom line the other day. Says not quite the reunion just yet, but maybe we're trending in that direction. So thoughts on this? Calvin Johnson back in the building, the potential possibility of Calvin and the Lions kind of mending fences. I know we mentioned it yesterday. How great would it be to have him back around some of these wide receivers like Amon-Ra and developing some of these guys? But even if not, just to have one of the best players in your franchise's history back around and in good graces with the team, I think is a good thing. So quick thoughts here on this whole Calvin Johnson saga.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I believe again later last night or even this morning there, Kelvin Johnson, it was a photo on Instagram of him sitting in the seats. And there was like a paragraph below it that says, I want to thank all the friends and family of the Detroit Lions that they came out and supported me through rain, sleet, snow, or whatever. And he goes, I've never watched a Lions game from this point of view in the seats. And the first comment was Barry Sanders, plain and simple. You can sit next to me anytime. So we're getting these drips and drabs. I would imagine it's kind of like a soap opera here. But to me, Kelvin Johnson would be one of, if not the biggest kind of additions to a young and up and coming coaching staff like this. I've said it until my face turned blue. You asked me to be quick here. Just again, so many, enticing free agents, and even in the draft. Detroit the ball is already kind of moving in terms of wanting to be some sort of a good destination. It's not just the Detroit Lions. It's a graveyard and everything. But if you can get Calvin and Barry, Spielman, all these guys kind of in the clubhouse at all times, hanging with these guys, it's outstanding. And I know, if I'm not mistaken, it's all over like $1.5 million, something crazy like that. You pay the guy the money. What's 1.5 mil to a massive organization worth 405 million here? And one thing I will say, what was surprising to me is that Hall of Fame video, right, when they knock on his door, the guy who recently retired, they knocked on his door. Calvin still lives in Detroit. We hadn't heard much from Calvin in a few years, and come to find out, he didn't go back home to Georgia. He still lives in the Metro Detroit area. So in a way, I feel like it's like a Ross and a Rachel thing from Friends here. We know at the end of the day here, the two are going to get together. It's just the long road in between, little entertainment, little horror, and we go from there. But I love the way this whole relationship is trending, and they're going to mend fences. I can feel it in my bones.
Tie a little friends in there with it. I like it, but you're right. I think they're on the right track. And the Lions, $1.5 million. Is that worth the reputation hit that you take for dealing with this guy the way you have? So who knows? Hopefully we're on the right track. We're on the right way. Let's stay local here. One other story of note here with the Pistons. They're not playing till tomorrow. They host Toronto tomorrow night, so we'll cover that game in depth on tomorrow's show. But the trade with Bol Bol, he was brought in Denver Nuggets. I mean, he was a star at Oregon. Obviously, we know his dad, Minute. I do think this kid has some potential. He's just been on a loaded Denver team, has never gotten a chance to really show much. But you thought, okay, he's coming to the Pistons, young team. He's going to get an opportunity. Not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corsos likes to say. The trade has fallen through. He failed his physical. So, I don't know if he doesn't weigh enough or what's going on here, Beastie. But the Bol Bol fan club that came out here is going to have to wait. Sounds like he is headed back to Denver.
Yeah, and it seems like they kept it simple. I believe the Pistons had some sort of memo not too long ago, and it was nothing specific. It just said we've rescinded our trade offer after closer inspection or after we dug in. But we all knew last night and even early this morning. I watched, the Woodward Sports Show this morning, and shout out to Easy's grabbing that one microphone there. And they were basically those two were saying the same thing back and forth here. Where when you look at Bol Bol, I mean, he's more of a how do I say this without sounding rude? I mean, he's kind of he's there. He's like the human victory cigar in a way. If you remember Darko Milicic, the only way this kid would get in the game is at the end of a game here when it was a blowout here. So even if Bol Bol would have came here, I wouldn't expect a whole lot from him. It was more of I don't know. I don't want to upset anybody, but in a way was grabbing Bol Bol here more of kind of a publicity stunt. I don't know. I don't know the kid. I don't know the Denver organization and or anybody in the Pistons brass, but his physical failed, as we see here, so they voided and rescinded the offer here. So back to the drawing board for the Pistons. Take shots, you miss it.
Yeah, it's not always going to work out. So usually for the best. If guys not passing a physical, I mean, there's maybe something more going on there. So unfortunate. I was hopeful to see what he could do here with an opportunity on a young team, but we will not see that here at this moment. Who knows? Maybe down the line we get another shot at Bol Bol. So we're going to get into NHL and NBA here momentarily, break down the action for tonight, but want to hit the NFL real quick here. Beastie, give some of the latest news and notes as we head towards wildcard weekend. If you missed yesterday's show, we went through each and every game and gave our initial thoughts, plays we liked, how we thought the games would play out, some early bets, totals that we like. So make sure if you missed that, you can catch it on demand on Twitter or on YouTube. We'll be back Saturday, Sunday, Monday, covering all those games in depth. But the latest news here, we'll start with Najee Harris. No practice, still dealing with that elbow injury. They're hopeful he can be back tomorrow. So we know the Steelers, big-time underdogs. But without Najee Harris, I think you're really going to be facing an uphill battle. So we'll see if he is back tomorrow. Also, some encouraging news there. Juju Smith-Schuster, a guy we haven't spoken much about this season. We know he's been out this season. They're not ruling him out to come back this weekend for this game. So that could potentially help as well. Give yourself another weapon to try to keep up with that Kansas City offense. So we'll keep an eye on the status of Harris and Juju. T. Higgins will be in the lineup for the Bengals on Saturday. No, he's been questionable, but they came out and said he is good to go. No CEH, going back to that Kansas City-Pittsburgh game, was not present at the media portion of practice today. So a little concerning there. We got some good reports on him, Darrell Williams, Tyreek Hill. So we'll continue to update that. James Conner, game time decision, that game Monday against the Rams. Chase Edmonds says he'll be back. So another situation we'll have to monitor, that Arizona running back situation. Other things here, J.J. Watt, return to practice Thursday, very limited, so I doubt you see him back in the lineup. Tampa Bay, Ronald Jones remained on the sidelines. He is doubtful for that game. And the Buccaneers went out and signed old John Brown, Smokey Brown, to help fill some of the void without Chris Godwin, without Antonio Brown in that pass-catching core. So, Beastie, thoughts on any of that? We got news for Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Tampa Bay. So thoughts there. Anything you want to add in the NFL before we dig in to the
Yeah.
NHL and the NBA.
Absolutely. On another note, I believe that the Rams signed Eric Weddle. You remember this guy? He was a
Yes.
longtime
Yep.
Charger safety, and he was a monster. I mean, he played with reckless abandon, and he comes out of retirement to join the Rams here. We'll see what happens there. But to me, all the news and notes of missed practices that go on through the week, I just jot it down, or I put a little check mark or an asterisk next to my already written down DFS notes, and I'm not going to apologize. But everything I do, I speak and I think from a DFS perspective. So Najee Harris, a little limited. I had Benny Snell as a good play here in this game at Kansas City, 12th overall against opposing running backs. Benny Snell could get a little bit more of a look here if need be. And then when you look at the receivers, even Ray McLeod, let's say Najee Harris is limited, Juju isn't back. Ray McLeod, I believe, had like 6 or 7 targets last week, and maybe they'll run it back again in a game where Pittsburgh, as we talked about yesterday, could be down early and often, just slinging the ball. The old Western wily veteran Ben Roethlisberger here. So that's how I'm looking at it. You just kind of write it down and keep an eye on it, because nothing's final yet until kickoff here. But I love the idea of looking around on depth charts after a guy like Harris doesn't practice, or after a guy like Juju. Or is he going to play? Is he not going to play? We don't know here. So just to keep it close, just so when lock comes up this weekend, we're fully prepared. We have all the information, and I like to think, Beer, we give folks a really good dose of up-to-date info and our opinions here every time we broadcast on Woodward Sports.
Absolutely. That's the goal, to have more winning days than losing days. So we're not going to win every single day. Nobody does. So you'd be out on a yacht, not sitting here talking sports. So you try to win more than you lose, and that's anything in life. So that is the goal. Speaking of Ben Roethlisberger, did you see some of the quotes that he had? They were asking him about this game. Quote, "We don't have a chance, so let's just go in and have fun." Talking about this game with Kansas City. So
oh, wow.
Is this Ben trying to motivate his guys in a strange way? I mean, it's a strange comment for, the veteran of a team makes the playoffs, and maybe he's checked out. Maybe he didn't see this happening. I'm trying to understand the motivation for this comment, if it's a weird way to motivate his guys, but just kind of caught me off guard. You generally don't hear a quarterback, any guy in sports, saying we don't have a chance. In fact, you hear the opposite. Like, we're going to go in, we're looking for the upset. We know we're the underdog, but, we're going to give it our all. So thoughts on it was a little crazy from Ben yesterday.
Yeah, that is strange. The first time I'm hearing this, which makes me, my comment or my opinion even that much more genuine and or fun here. Ben Roethlisberger is literally on his last legs. I mean, both of his legs could fall off at any moment. We know he's going to retire, when this playoff run or getting in the playoffs is done and over with here. In a weird way, he's kind of like flipped it around. Like you start here, 180s half, 360s all the way around. He started at point A and he's gone all the way around here, and it's like a motivational tactic, but he's going to take all this heat for it, and who knows what the heck is going on in the mind of Ben Roethlisberger here. I'm with you. In all my years watching professional sports, especially playoff, football or playoff sports across the board, I've never heard an opposing team, especially the leader of the team, say, "Yeah, we're just going to go in there. We don't have a chance, and we'll see what we can do." This just further proves that Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger, he might throw the ball 45 or 50 times in this one. So I'm stacking all the Steelers pass catchers in this one.
Just crazy. Never seen nothing like that. So we'll see. Maybe it's a little reverse psychology, and they go in there and pull the upset. But excited for these games this weekend, no doubt. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated with the latest news, notes from around the NFL. But NHL taking center stage here. We got our hockey experts on the show. Beastie, a ton of games to go through here tonight. But let's start with the Red Wings. They are hosting the Winnipeg Jets here tonight. It is Winnipeg, right? I saw the Jets.
Correct.
I'm thinking,
yeah. Yes.
Okay, see, that shows my hockey knowledge. Some of these teams have moved around, and so these two teams, 16 wins each on the season. So a pretty balanced game here. Jets look like they are minus 119 on the money line here. Over under sitting mostly 5.5. There's some 6s out there. So let's start with the local game here. Give the people some stuff to bet on with this game coming up here momentarily. So thoughts on this game with the Red Wings, and then we'll get into the rest of the NHL action here for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, there's 11 games here, and what better way to kick it off than talking about the Red Wings here? First, the puck drop is at 7:30 p.m. It's downtown, right here at Little Caesars Arena, and Winnipeg is the favorite right now. They're minus 140 if you're going to bet, and the over under in this one sits at 6 goals. And as we get further into this entire slate of hockey games, there are a lot of 6 and 6.5 over under goal spreads here. But the Winnipeg Jets, that they continue just a very long road trip as they visit the Red Wings here. Winnipeg 16-12-5 on the year, but they got absolutely blown out last time against Colorado. They lost 7-1. Goalie Connor Hellebuck had the worst game of the season between the pipes. He only saved about 83% of the shots, allowing 7 goals on 42 total shots played the whole time, the full 60 minutes here. And offensively, Winnipeg, they've been okay. They've been, let's just call it what it is, mediocre. They're scoring about 2.75 goals a game on around 33, 34 total shots a game. They average. Kyle Connor is their do-it-all guy, their stud. He's done it all. As I said, he's got a team-high 35 points to go along with 19 goals on 138 shots through the first 33 games of the season. And when we turn our attention to the Wings here, they're kind of, I don't want to say limping back to Little Caesars Arena, but they're coming back kind of drudged up and beaten up here. They lost 4 of their last 5 games, including a three in a row following a 1-goal loss to San Jose, which we discussed a few days ago. And their rookie goaltender, Alex Nedeljkovic, he's been good and he's been bad. I think he just needs more playing time, but he was just very bad last time out. He allowed 3 goals on 40 shots, including an overtime goal in overtime here. So when we look at this one, Tyler Bertuzzi, he's kind of taken the reins here. He's been producing a big time here. He had 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 shots in just over 23 and a half minutes of ice time last game out. And I love the addition of Nick Leddy. He's finally back in the roster. He chipped in with another goal, while Philip Hronek added 2 assists. It went 24 minutes last time the Wings played here. So it's a few recent betting trends here. Total has gone over in 6 of Winnipeg's last 7 games here. Detroit 1-5 against the spread, their last 6 games here. In Winnipeg, 4-1 against the spread, their last 5 games against Detroit here. And one more with Winnipeg. Total has gone over in 5 of Winnipeg's last 7 games on the road here. So all signs point to the over in this one. But I have to imagine here that I'm going to take Winnipeg in this one. As it stands now, they're just the better team in a really good matchup. They're playing better hockey. I'm looking for Winnipeg to just ride on this current hot streak here against a somewhat struggling Detroit Red Wings team tonight here on the road. So Winnipeg is going to do just enough to kind of get over that hump here and avenge that blowout loss last time out. So I think Winnipeg wins this one 3-1 here. So again, if you're going to stack this game from a DFS perspective, then look no further than Winnipeg's first line. If I bring it up here in front of me, you want anything and everything to do with Kyle Connor for Winnipeg. He literally has done it all. In the first line center, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Cole Perfetti, both first line centers here, along with Neil Pionk, their first line defenseman, and Kyle Connor, first line, first power play unit. All 4 guys I just mentioned, they skate together 20 plus minutes a game, first line and first power play unit. So that's the way I'm looking for the Wings here in this one, and we'll see what the rest of the slate has to offer here.
So do you like the under then as well? I mean, it seemed like some of the trends were favoring towards an over. You're predicting a 3-1 score. I don't hate that. Like I said, Winnipeg kind of on a roll right now. Detroit struggling a little bit. The total, again, there's 5.5s, there's 6s out there. So, if you're going 4, I can find a 6. Lean to under, or you still feel much better about that Calgary line?
And I know I sounded kind of contradictory when I was reading the recent betting trends, and 5 of 7 Winnipeg's last games it's gone over. Their last 7 on the road, 6 of them have gone over. But if you look at, to me personally, the most important one is what they've done against Detroit on the road here. That the total has gone over in 5 of their last 8 games on the road here. But again, after this nasty blowout loss, kind of coming in and meeting not a down and out Detroit Red Wings team, but they have. They're licking their wounds as well here. So again, I would lean the under here. So again, when we, revisit this maybe tomorrow or next time Winnipeg plays here, we can add another, under to the betting column here. But as it stands now, yeah, I think Winnipeg wins this one 3-1, and we can safely take the under here.
All right, lowest line on that looks like DraftKings minus 115 on the Winnipeg Jets, also Bet Rivers. So you're probably not making the Red Wings fans happy out there, Beastie, but hey, that's what we do. You can't always bet with your heart. You got to make a sound decision, and maybe you bet against the Wings. Hey, Winnipeg wins, you win some money. The Wings win, hey, you lose a little bit of money, but your team wins. There's always a way to spin it into a positive. So that'll do it for our look at the Red Wings tonight. Now open up the can on the rest of this slate of games. Again, 10 games. So people that are looking for some DFS action, some bets I'm sure we'll get to at the end of the show, but just break this slate down. We got a lot of hockey to talk here.
Yeah, this is going to be outstanding. If you look at it across the board, first puck drop is 7 p.m. in Boston. Philly, comes into Boston. These two teams hate each other. And last puck drop is in San Jose at 10:30 p.m. When I comb through, all these games, sir, you have to look at Boston and Colorado once again will be major chalk here. So again, if you're going to play in cash games, this is the night to do that with all these different options here, right? So Boston won. We know that line. Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand. I believe David Pastrnak will be bumped up again. He was on the second line the last few days, but he's trying to get his conditioning down after missing a few contests. So they're going to have Boston is going to have their complete, everything's going to come together for them. So Boston won absolutely in play in cash games. And then when you look at Colorado, they are one of, if not the better teams in the NHL here. And so Colorado won, Mikko Rantanen and Nathan McKinnon, excuse me, they're going to do what they do. But those are chalk. And when we talk about hockey here, especially me, predisposed to all this, this DFS stuff and reaching down deep, there's three lines here that I think we could get away with in big time GPPs here. And that's St. Louis 1, St. Louis Blues first line. Seattle heads to St. Louis. The predicted score here is looking to be about 5-3 here. And again, I think St. Louis wins this one and they hang 5 goals in this one. So for me personally, I love the Blues first line, and you can get that one generally pretty cheap here when you look through the entire slate. St. Louis's first line, Ryan O'Reilly, first power play unit and first line here. He's only $5,600 on FanDuel. And then when we go down the list, Pavel Buchnevich, he's also first line, first power play unit. And then Ivan Barbasov, he sounds like some barehanded boxer in Russia. Ivan Barbasov, he's going to bring it to Seattle tonight. So give me St. Louis 1 in this one. And again, I think St. Louis wins this one 5-3. So I'd be comfortable taking, St. Louis minus a goal and a half. I'd also be comfortable taking the over 6, 5 + 3 = 8. And it's just a simple addition of math here. And two more, actually, if I have the time here. Columbus goes to Carolina in this one. And I've mentioned I'm not trying to tell a story often, but Carolina has been hit very hard by COVID. And I've mentioned it a few times here. They've had to leave, pretty important players across the country as they're traveling. They're picking up COVID. But finally tonight, at home against Columbus, they look to have all their pieces again here. So I love Carolina 1. You can never really go wrong with the Hurricanes line 1, Sebastian Aho, Tara Teravainen. But I really loved taking it just a step further in playing their second line here. And when you look at Carolina 2, it's Vincent Trocheck, second line, first power play unit. Jesper Fast plays on the second line. He hasn't been really logging too many power play minutes here, but I'd imagine in this one, Carolina will put up a fight. So we'll see if we can get Jesper Fast in some sort of power play unit. And then Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner's been around a minute, played for St. Louis, made his name, in Ottawa here. But I love Carolina too. As I said, Vincent Trocheck, Jesper Fast, and Andrei Svechnikov, second line, first power play unit. So yet again, a team in a good spot. And when you stack one line, you're getting exposure to kind of both power plays and their first line. All three of these guys play at least 20 minutes a night. If you can't put up points and goals if you're not on the ice. These three guys will be here. And one more stack I want, and I was talking to some friends earlier this afternoon, right? Because they look to me, they go, what are we doing for hockey? Kind of like we're doing here. And I said, you know what? Boston won and Colorado won. That's all fine and dandy. But for some odd reason, I like the Buffalo Sabres tonight. And it was like I was met with, like I held a knife to someone's head. Like, what are you doing? Because Buffalo is pretty bad. But in this spot tonight in Nashville, and most folks would say, what are you starting the Buffalo Sabres against Jose Saros? The kid's been pretty good at goalie, $8,400 on FanDuel. But to me, When you look at the Nashville Predators, Roman Josi, the stud defenseman on the blue line here, they have been, I just look for any little nugget, but when you look at Nashville, they've been very undisciplined in terms of penalty minutes or just doing stupid stuff, sucker punches or high sticks here. So Buffalo, I would imagine, is going to see a couple extra minutes on the power play. And that's exactly why I like, Buffalo's first line. All three guys on the first line, all three guys on the first power play units. Dylan Cousins, first line, first power play unit. Alex Tuck, first line, first power play unit, and Jeff Skinner. Excuse me, I said Jeff Skinner does not play for Colorado. He plays for Buffalo. My bad here. So those three guys for Buffalo, they're going to be on the ice a whole heck of a lot, just skating with the first line, and they're going to be on the ice as Nashville, tends to make some mistakes and gives you that stinky glove in your face. Well, they're going to wind up in the penalty box. So to me, Buffalo 1 is a nice play in like a massive multi-entry GPP. Nobody's going to see it coming, and I have Buffalo to win this game. They're going to hang 3, maybe 4 goals against the Nashville Predators in this one. And again, nobody's going to see this coming. And final score, given stacking Buffalo's first line, I would also take the over in this one. So just a little mini recap as I've been talking. St. Louis 1, love those guys. Carolina 2 and Buffalo 1 to go with your chalk of Boston 1, Colorado. You can mix and match these 5 lines if you want. I write them down in succession and I go from there so I don't miss a stat combo. So that's the way I'm leaning tonight in NHL. It's going to be a very busy night. As I've said it, there's 11 games in this one, so there's not too many spots you can go wrong here, but I would prefer St. Louis 1, Buffalo 1, and Carolina 2 beer.
Love it. And whenever hockey's on the docket, you take as much time as you need. I heard you in there. You don't want to take up too much time. I don't want to clip your wings here, man. You fly. You get hockey, you run with it as long as it takes. We want to get the people the information. Sometimes it's going to take a minute. Sometimes it's going to take 10 to 15 minutes. So great breakdown there of the slate, and I'm sure there's some best bets coming in the NHL. 2-1 last night, so we'll look to keep him hot in the NHL. All right, let's turn our attention to the NBA. Not quite as many games on the docket tonight, just 5 games, but as always, a lot of news, a lot of injuries, so we'll cover those first here before the slate locks here momentarily. So we know Portland is a place that we have to start. Not only going to be without Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, who have been out, now we had Norman Powell out. We had Anthony Simons out as well. So they're down 4 of their best offensive players here in this game in Denver. That spread is ballooned to Denver -11. Brooklyn, another team that's going to be thin of superstars. No Kyrie Irving, no Kevin Durant here tonight. So anytime this is a scenario with Brooklyn, we know what to do. You play the other superstar. James Harden averages almost 2 fantasy points per minute with these 2 guys off the floor. So he is clearly your spend-up premier option in your cash games. Again, the slate locking here momentarily. Even in tournaments, I'm eating the chalk here on James Harden. I just don't see any reason you don't play him. The only way things could go wrong, injury or the game gets out of hand. I think we get a competitive game here. So Harden stands out as a premier option. Big game tonight for my Bucks. Golden State in town. Unfortunately, they are going to be without Drew Holiday here in this game. So Giannis obviously gets a nice boost here. Tons of star power in that game to look to here tonight. Golden State will be without Draymond Green on that side of the ball. So some value in Juan Toscano-Anderson. Some of the other guys. Jordan Poole is from the Milwaukee area, as is Kevon Looney. So a little bit of a homecoming for both of those boys. 2 high school heroes in my local town there. So those are guys you can look at. Little revenge there, little hometown narrative. Never hurts to add that on to the mix. So that's the majority of the injury. So as far as DFS goes, again, I think James Harden a must play here tonight on the high end. If you're looking for a value play, you have to look to Portland. I think Dennis Smith Jr., a guy that certainly had his ups and downs. We've seen the best of him in Dallas. We've seen the worst of him when he was traded off to the Knicks. Now resides in the Portland area, but they don't have any guards left. I mean, you took away Lillard, their starting point guard. You take away Anthony Simons, the backup point guard. You take away Powell, who kind of plays that point forward sometime. He's out. McCollum out. So Smith's going to have to play a ton of minutes. Have the ball in his hands a ton. So I love him as a value option here tonight. Some other guys that I'm looking at here tonight, I think Yusuf Nurkic on that same team, a little revenge against his former team, his buddy Nikola Jokic. So I don't mind going there as a mid-range center option. Jokic, again, always in play. I prefer Harden if we're spending up. He's a little bit cheaper. Jokic up to 12,500 on DraftKings. So it's a big price to pay. You can certainly fit him, but there are some value center options as well. We talked about Brooklyn. You can look to Day'Ron Sharpe, Kessler Edwards as guys you can play here. Even Blake Griffin can provide some value. Bobby Portis, a guy I like tonight with some of the injuries with Milwaukee, like we mentioned. Beastie, your thoughts here? I know you dabble in some NBA as well. Injuries, once again, the story, and I think that's always a great place to start is who's out, who's coming in for them. The NBA, very projectable as far as minutes go, as far as projections. It's I'll say the quote-unquote easiest sport to project. There's just not as much variance as there are in the other sports. But Harden, Dennis Smith Jr., to me, stand out as the two best plays here tonight.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, I have a couple plays in front of me. But one thing I did for the first time yesterday, as I told you, when you're talking, in the screen is yours, I'm taking notes and I'm writing down players or little tidbits or nuggets of what you're saying. And I used everything you told me, told all of us yesterday. And I entered 2 single entry NBA lines. And I haven't played NBA in years. And I tripled my entry fee was like $5. And I got back like $35 playing all those little lines. So I will continue to do so, even when I'm not on the broadcast with you. I tune in anyway. So when we look at this one, though, there's a lot of good, DVP matchups. We know what that means. Some people hang on to that stuff, or some people throw that away. I use, DVP, defense versus position, a lot as a puzzle piece, as kind of a foundation to what I'm doing. And I love the idea of Dennis Smith, as you said, in Denver. They're 25th against opposing point guards. Or Chris Middleton. Milwaukee's hosting Golden State in this one. Yes, Golden State is 4th overall against shooting guards or starting forwards, but Chris Middleton, guy's got a floor of, I'm not kidding here, he's got a floor of probably a ceiling of 65 to 68 points. That's like in a game of his life here. But I always look at ceiling and floor when I'm talking about these guys here. Otto Porter, I have no issue with him either. Golden State is playing against your Bucks here, and Milwaukee's 27th overall against opposing starting forwards and power forwards here. And Otto Porter is one of those nice salary relief guys. He's only $5,100 on FanDuel, has a floor of 30, 35, something along those lines. And then we go down the list. I used Day'Ron Sharpe yesterday in my line after you mentioned him, and I'm going right back to the well here in this one. Brooklyn is hosting the the Oklahoma Thunder here, who are around 12th overall against opposing power forwards. And get this, Day'Ron Sharpe still just about the minimum, $4,500 on FanDuel. And then look no further. My building block for today is Nurkic, as you said. Portland goes to Denver. Denver's okay against centers, 3rd overall, but Yusuf is in a league of his own here. So that's the way I'm looking. And if you want to get a little silly, I'm going to throw in Jordan Poole as well. Golden State playing against your Bucks here. A nice little point guard, shooting guard kind of combo here. Only $5,100 or $5,100. So as you see, we're talking Giannis or Harden and Nurkic, and you can get guys in like Poole, Porter, or Day'Ron Sharpe here. So I'm going to, how can I put this? You're giving me the itch again to play NBA DFS. I used to be big into it, a few years ago, but I kind of threw it by the wayside so I could, kind of really sink my teeth into hockey. But I'm trending towards that direction of let's just play all the sports. Let's do UFC and golf DFS while we're at it. What are you going to do?
Love it. Why not? I mean, the more the merrier. I'm gonna dabble a little hockey tonight as well with some of the stuff I've been working on some lineups here for tonight. So again, these slates lock here momentarily. I wanted to get you this information. So hopefully things go out without a hitch tonight in the NBA. We know injuries and things can wreak havoc, but that Day'Ron Sharpe, man, this kid I think is for real. Only 21 minutes, puts up 27 and 20.7 rebounds in that last game. So they're going to be thin. He's getting an opportunity, a late first-round pick for them that's finally starting to blossom a little bit. So he is certainly, along with Dennis Smith Jr., some of the premier value plays for tonight. But let's get the people some best bets here before these games kick off, before puck drops, before old tip-off. We want to get the people some winners. Again, you handled your end of the bargain yesterday. Mine were terrible. We will bounce back, though. Today is a new day, as I always say. Whether we go 6-0, 0-6, or somewhere in between, you're only as good as you are today. So let's get some best bets on the board. I'm going to let you lead off here. Give the people some winners. Thursday night best bets. What do you got?
Sure. I got another, a three-legged NHL parlay, and it's going to start with the San Jose Sharks or the Rangers head to San Jose. Both teams come into this game playing well, but one will look down to take on the other. But San Jose is the hotter team as of late. They're going to have a ton of momentum tonight in San Jose here. So I like the San Jose Sharks as the favorite. They're plus 105 here in most sports books, whichever one you go to. So give me San Jose plus 105. And looking at Pittsburgh at the Kings here later on in the evening tonight. But Pittsburgh by far the better team of the two. But LA has tapped into some old wily veteran kind of love here. But I think that the Penguins do enough here Thursday night to pick up the win on the road in LA here. So give me the Pittsburgh Penguins minus 145. And one little other nugget, as I said, Columbus heads to Carolina to take on the Hurricanes. I have Carolina winning about 5-2, maybe 5-3. Over under in this one's only 5.5 goals here. So I'm taking the over in the Columbus at Carolina game. I'm taking, as I said, Pittsburgh, the Penguins, minus 145, and give me the San Jose Sharks with plus money here. So 2 of the 3 bets, you can get plus money here. Makes for a nice little ticket the more money you put on it, obviously.
Yeah, those parlays are fun when you have underdogs, and the odds start to, move up and up and up. I love to do it in the NFL, when there's some spreads that I really like as far as the alternate spreads. You start to say, okay, a team's a 10-point favorite. I think they're going to win by 20 or more. You start getting those plus odds, and you start adding a few of those together, becomes a nice little parlay for you. So 3 winners there for you in the NHL. I'm going to hit you 3 in the NBA. I'm going to start with a total. We talked about that Golden State Milwaukee game. This kicks off tonight here in about 30 minutes or so on this NBA slate. So you got a little bit of time here. These 2 teams can score the ball. We know that. So I really like the over in the spot. It does not hurt that 2 of the best defenders in this game will not play. We know Drew Holiday, a fantastic defender at the point guard position. So he is not out there to slow down Steph Curry. What does that mean? Curry could go nuts here. On the other side, their best defender, probably Draymond Green, trying to slow down Giannis. He is not in this game either. So those 2 being out really likes me on the over, really has me on the over here in this one. So looks like the latest number, 224. There are some 223. Actually, 223 is the number I can find here. That one's at PointsBet, 223.5 at most other spots. So we'll go over 223.5 here in that one. Next one, I'm going to go on to spread. I like Memphis here at home against Minnesota. This one, Memphis -4, just seems too low in the spot. Memphis playing at an incredible level. Minnesota has been an upstart, no doubt, but I think Memphis, one of the sneaky under the radar teams in the Western Conference. So give me the Grizzlies here at home. And then we mentioned how many guys we like for Portland. We love Dennis Smith Jr. One guy I forgot to mention, Nasir Little should have to step up as well. They have their work cut out for them without 4 of their best offensive players here. And you're traveling to Denver. We know it's a tough place to play with that altitude. So even at this elevated number, I like the Denver Nuggets to roll here at home. So give me Denver -11. So again, over 223.5 in this Golden State to Milwaukee showdown. Memphis Grizzlies -4 and the Denver Nuggets, the late night hammer here in the betting world, -11 against the Portland Trailblazers. So once again, 6 picks on the board. We'll come back tomorrow and see how they did. But good luck to everybody in your DFS contests and your bets here tonight. So Beastie, as I always say, let's tie a bow on this thing. Gave the people information in all of the different sports here. So appreciate you sitting in once again here for Scott. So final thoughts for the people here Thursday night.
No, I just want to thank you. I hope Scott gets better. I hope you get better. And I hope you keep having me on, because this is just, it's just such a treat to talk hockey. Not a lot of folks in my life that give a crap about hockey. Everybody looks at me for, other stuff, NFL stuff. But hey, hockey's my biggest passion, my favorite sport. Hey, we are in Hockey Town. So it's just a treat to come on here and you give me the microphone to just go on and on about hockey. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. We appreciate the knowledge, my man. So thanks again for hopping on here. Just our do-it-all guy here at Woodward Bets. So we appreciate everything you do. Before we get out of here, we got a new show coming to the Woodward Sports Network. And this one looks like a lot of fun. So I want to shine the light on these guys because they more than often are behind the scenes. You know, they're doing all the dirty work trying to make us look pretty, which is not an easy job. We know that. But a new show coming here with our boy Spencer, who produces the show daily. We couldn't do it without him. We appreciate him. Easy, who you've seen on the show on some of the other shows here on the network, are going to start a new podcast, Woodward Heavyweight. So, Spencer, why don't we roll a little preview video? Because I've seen this multiple times. I still laugh every single time I see it. And I want to make sure people see this and know that this show is starting tomorrow. I believe will be the first episode Friday. So, Spencer, why don't you roll a little promo clip here for Woodward Heavyweights?
Hey, Spence, you hear what's going on in Studio B?
No.
Nick Leach is doing a podcast about kale and vegetables.
What? Not on my watch. Easy, man. Nick Leach is making a mockery of Studio B. What's he doing? He's doing a podcast about vegetables. What? Now I'm going there for about 25, 35 minutes. I'm gonna pick my teeth in this whole part. There we go. Let's go! Let's go! What the hell is this? You're making a mockery of Studio B. What are you doing, bro?
What's that, Helmet?
Take your and get out! Woodward Heavyweights, coming this Friday, brother! Where we talking about sports, fighting, and sports! Detroit sports! Yeah, this Friday we're gonna have Elon here! Elon! Episode 1, brother! Let's get it! Ah.
I mean, just fantastic. I'm seriously, I can watch that over and over and over. And it never gets old. I mean, the production quality, you know, these guys, you know, the easy looking like, you know, the Rock or D'Lo Brown, even going back to some wrestling days. These guys, I'm excited for this show. So that kicking off Friday, Beastie. Any thoughts on this? But pretty entertaining stuff there.
Out of that entire promo, it was outstanding, obviously, but the most shocking thing to me was the fact Easy looks like he already had like a leather vest. There's a patch on the back that I believe I saw a glimpse that it said his name. Where did he get a leather vest with his name on the back? I mean, I don't know, but these two dudes could probably make a run at some sort of motorcycle club, and nobody would bat an eye here. So I'll be there. I'm going to check that one out for sure.
Or the tag team champs of the world. So, and Spencer pulling out our stinky guy here in real life, 25, 35 minutes. So, well done by those guys. Excited about that show. So wanted to shine a little light on them. We appreciate everything they do. Love to see this thing succeed. So make sure you guys not only are coming back to check out our show and all the other great shows here on the network, but give that a listen tomorrow, a debut episode of Woodward Heavyweights. So that will do it here for Thursday night. Thank you so much for joining the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you ever have any suggestions, things you want us to talk more about, less about, please reach out to me on Twitter at BeerMakersFan or at our page at Woodward Bets. Make sure you're following the network, our page at Detroit Beastie as well, giving you tons of information in all the different sports. We'll be back tomorrow. Big slate in the NBA, so we will cover that. More NHL, I'm sure. We'll continue to look at the NFL, and we'll only be one day away from some playoff football. So we'll keep our eye on that as well. So exciting times here in the sports world. So for Detroit Beastie, for our boy Spencer behind the glass, I am Beer. We are Woodward Bets. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck in your DFS and your bets tonight, and we'll catch you tomorrow.